we've all gotten to know each other a little bit, and I thought I would take some time now that we are in our second week and follow up on a couple of introductory points for the class, and then get us going into the work of the next week. I would say that I've read everybody's introductions, and I thought there was some really good stuff on there. And this week we are moving into the content of the course. So we're going to be doing more from the book and with more formal activities. Whereas for week one, it was a lot more of the getting to know you kind of stuff. Um, if you've made it this far, you know that English 3007, being a WP course, is kind of at the top of the ladder for the writing program. CSU Stanislaus has a full writing program that consists of multiple courses and begins with first year composition, continues into English 2000 in your critical thinking classes. Obviously, it includes the WPST, which everybody has taken. And now here we are in your WP class, one of what might be many upper division writing classes that you have to take. You should know that the goal of this class isn't to teach you to write, but really to help you expand your boundaries and add new tools and new ideas to your already expert writing. As juniors and seniors in the university, you've already been through a lot of writing classes. So you know how to do essays, you know how to do different kinds of class stuff. We're going to focus a little bit more on the professional aspect of communication. Since this is the final stage of the writing program, you should have already passed first year composition, you should have already passed your critical inquiry class. Obviously, you should have passed the WPST. Otherwise, you wouldn't really be able to take this class for credit. So with that in mind, keep in mind that we're not going to be spending a whole lot of time doing little practice things like summarizing texts or taking good notes or organizing your thoughts. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on incorporating sources. These are things that I feel like you really should have gotten by now. We're going to focus more on the content of this course, which is productive communication. I would put productive communication in quotes because I think the word productive is important. And you might say, well, everything I write is productive. That's not actually the case. Most of the things that we write tend to be very personal or expressive. We tend to be trying to write an interpretation of a text that's important to us. We tend to be making an argument that is important to us. In the business world, the focus tends to be almost the opposite of that. The whole point of a business communication is to produce either a relationship or a positive outcome, to persuade somebody of something. All of this has very little to do with your own needs as a writer, or with your own ego, or your mood, or your own sense of self. How you feel about a situation has very little to do with the way you will communicate in a professional situation. Your audience's needs and the information that you are trying to convey, those are going to be the two big towers that are going to control everything, right? What your audience needs to hear in any given situation is really going to determine the tone of your message. And the tone of your message, the language that you use, the way that you structure it, that's really what's going to determine everything, right? So in a way, we are going all the way back to some of the tenets of classical rhetoric: ethos, pathos, logos, how to convince an audience, how to be heard in every situation, and how to foreground the proper evidence, the proper information, in order to convince that audience of yours. So that's pretty much the plan for our course. Now we're going to divide this. If you're looking at the course schedule, you'll see we can divide this fairly neatly into two big segments where we're going to be reading some of the big general theory and an overview of business communication. Early in the semester, the first weeks, we're going to be focusing on drafting, revising, planning out certain communications, whether they be short or long. And then we're going to start adding on to that and writing for very specific situations. Short daily documents, longer reports, putting that general theory into practice, right? So getting used to taking notes on all the things that you have read. I think that one of the keys to your success is going to be reading through the chapters early, taking notes and writing some reflections on what it is that you've encountered, and then using those early thoughts to write really good documents. That's going to be the plan, right? Because I think that writing reflections and doing exercises on the reading are so important, you will notice, and if you've read the syllabus, you've already noticed this, that unlike a lot of online classes where tests, exams, nightly quizzes tend to be so important, we really don't have a whole lot of that. There's not going to be any tests. There's not going to be any exams, no midterm, no final exam. What we'll have instead is extensive consideration and reflection on the material that you've read. I'm going to ask you to read and reflect on some of these big ideas, to think about what it is that you've encountered in the text, and to speak back to that, to add some commentary. That's what the reader reviews are designed to do, to get you to think about these ideas, to summarize them, and then to write up some commentary and to grapple with some of the ideas on your terms, right? So rather than tests and exams, the focus in this class is going to be more on those weekly reflections and then analytical exercises that will ask you to apply some of the ideas that you've read, right? So be prepared to write a lot of both, a lot of reflections and a lot of practical exercises. That's really going to be the meat of the class. You're seeing the first of these in the week 2 modules, where first thing I'm asking you to do is to read chapters 1 and chapter 8, and then complete these exercises and these reader reviews for both of them, right? So that's going to be a very common theme in our class. Read it, reflect it, apply it. We will be writing a lot of daily short documents throughout the semester, so prepare for that as well. Persuasive documents, documents that are communicating a short routine message or some good news to somebody. How to structure a document when you got to write bad news or when you've got to let somebody down and you want to still maintain a professional relationship. All of these things are going to be part of our extensive work, so we will be writing a lot of those. We'll also be writing, as you've seen, some longer documents, a full report towards the end of the semester. Right? That's about all I've got for this first week. I've enjoyed what I've read so far. I'm looking forward to seeing your next stuff. I would offer one last reminder: if you have not yet added a picture to your Canvas profile, that little picture that gets posted along with everything that you've added. So if you add something to a discussion board, it shows a little image of you. Do so, right? That can be the same picture that you submitted to the group introductions. It can be another picture if you prefer. But if you haven't done that yet, then add a picture to your Canvas profile. And as you've seen already, we got new modules up for week 2. They're waiting for you. Get to work on them as soon as you can. And I will see you guys online. I've already met some of you and gotten emails from others. I'm looking forward to getting in contact with the rest of you. Have a good week. I'll see you.